I gave your apartment keys to my daughter. She's moving in while you're on vacation, Mom said. I'd been gone 4 days into a 10-day trip. Sister had replaced my locks, moved her furniture in. Dad, you're never there anyway, Cher. I didn't end the trip early. I called my landlord from Greece. 10 minutes later, my phone started exploding. What if I told you my own mother, while I was blissfully unaware on vacation, handed my apartment keys to my sister, who then changed the locks and moved all her furniture in? This isn't just about a key. It's about a betrayal so deep, it shattered everything I thought I knew about family and finally, gave me the clarity I desperately needed. I was in Santorini, Greece. The Aegean Sea was doing its whole postcard thing. Deep blue waters, whitewashed buildings, laughter drifting up from the streets. My wife, Kara, and I were on a balcony, our little boy asleep behind us, the air smelling of salt and sunscreen. For the first time in years, I felt truly at peace. Then my phone buzzed. It was Mom. "Benjamin," she chirped a little too brightly, "don't panic." My stomach dropped. That phrase, "don't panic," was my internal alarm bell. It always meant they'd already done something. "I gave your apartment keys to Danielle," she said, as if describing borrowing a cup of sugar. "She's moving in while you're on vacation." The world tilted. My heart started doing that fast, shallow thing. Heat rushed up my neck, and my fingertips went numb around the phone. Kara, who'd been watching my face, saw my smile drain away. "You did what?" I asked, my voice a stranger's. "She needs stability," Mom added, as if that ended the discussion. I heard my dad's voice in the background, gruff and dismissive. "You're never there anyway. Cher." Kara leaned in, her eyes wide. I knew that look. It was the familiar pressure in my chest, the one that told me I was about to be the reasonable one again, even when no one else was. But this time, something was different. Something inside me had finally gone quiet. Not anger, not panic, just a terrifying, beautiful clarity. "Okay," I said, calm enough to surprise myself. Then I did the one thing none of them expected. I didn't argue. I didn't scream. I didn't even hang up. I just walked away from the table, from the fading sunset, and I called my landlord. See, my family had a story about me. My name is Benjamin. I'm 39 and I'm an accountant. A pretty successful one. Actually, I sign off on budgets bigger than my entire family's annual income. But to them, I was Benjamin the actor. The dreamer. The unreliable one who'd figure it out someday. It started in my early 20s, and I stopped correcting them years ago. Why? Because the moment they thought I was doing well, the requests stopped being small. They turned into demands, into plans that always involved my money, my time, or my space. I was the middle kid. Danielle, my sister, is 3 years younger, and she'd been the family's soft spot since birth. If Danielle cried, everyone moved. If I struggled, I was told to toughen up. "Benjamin, you're smart. Figure it out." While Danielle got, "Oh, you poor thing, sit down. I'll handle it." I became the family's unpaid customer support. Lease agreements, maxed out credit cards, baby supplies. I was always there, always fixing, always paying. Every time I tried to set a boundary, Mom would give me that sickeningly sweet smile and say, "Benjamin, family helps family." That phrase was a crowbar, prying open my defenses every single time. So I learned to say no quietly, and I learned to let them keep their story about Benjamin the dreamer. It kept me safer, or so I thought. Kara, my wife, saw it before I did. She's the kind of woman who reads a room like I read a spreadsheet. When she first met my parents, my mom hugged her and said, "Thank you for loving him. He needs someone steady." Later, Kara whispered, "Your mom talks about you like you're a project." I laughed it off. But then, after Danielle's third emergency, Kara looked at me and said, "Ben, I'm not saying don't help. I'm saying they're getting comfortable with you being the solution." I gave her my usual line, "She's family." And Kara, my incredible Kara, looked straight into my soul and asked, "So, are you that stuck but not enough?" "Not yet." Danielle's life was always one small step from falling apart. She was charming, hilarious. She could make strangers love her in 30 seconds flat. But behind that charm, there was a pattern: a bad job, a bad boss, a bad friend, an unfair landlord. Right before our Greece trip, she was between places. Not evicted, not behind on rent, not ignoring warnings. Just between places. 2 weeks before our flight, Mom called. "Danielle, might need to stay with you for a bit." I was in the kitchen, laptop open, my calendar meticulously mapped out with bills and auto payments. Numbers calm me down. "How long is a bit?" I asked. "Oh, honey," Mom cooed. "Just until she gets settled." "Settled where?" I pressed. Silence. Then, "You have a second bedroom." I did. It was our son's room. And this trip to Greece? It was the first Kara and I had taken in 3 years that didn't involve a family obligation or someone else's crisis. "I'm not doing that," I stated. Mom's tone chilled instantly. "So, you're turning your back on your sister." "I'm protecting my family," I shot back. My dad got on the line, then his usual backup move. "You're being selfish, Ben. Your sister needs help." Kara stood in the doorway, arms crossed, quiet. I kept my voice steady, though my blood was boiling. "We're leaving the country. There's no way I'm handing my keys to anyone." Mom sighed, a dramatic, world-weary sound. "Fine. We'll figure it out." I believed her. That was my mistake, because Mom's version of figuring it out always meant deciding for me and then calling it love. Back in Greece, moments after Mom's bombshell, my hand was still shaking as I dialed Mr. Haskins, my landlord. He's a 60-something retired firefighter, owns 3 small buildings, not a corporate guy. He likes things simple, and he likes things legal. "Ben, everything okay?" he answered on the second ring. "No," I said, the word catching in my throat. "Someone broke into my apartment." A beat of stunned silence. "What do you mean?" My mom gave my spare keys to my sister. She changed the locks, moved furniture in. "What?" His voice sharpened instantly. "You didn't authorize that?" "No." "All right," he said, "all business. Text me the details. Now." I sent him a short message, unauthorized entry. "No permission. Out of country. Please secure unit." He called back within 2 minutes. "I'm heading over," he said. "If she changed the locks, that's illegal. I'm calling the locksmith and the police." A strange calm washed over me. My chest, which had been tight with dread, loosened a fraction. Kara watched me, like she was watching someone come back to life. "Do it," I told Mr. Haskins, my voice firm. "And I'll pay whatever it costs." "You pay rent on time, Ben," he said. "This isn't your fault." I hung up, and immediately my phone exploded. 3 calls from my mom. I didn't answer. It lit up like a slot machine. Text from Danielle, "Where are you?" "He's trying to kick me out." Then, "Dad, don't make this ugly. Your sister has children. You're embarrassing the family." Kara reached for my hand. "What did you do?" "I called Haskins," I said. "He's going to the apartment." She nodded once. "Good." I looked at the beautiful table we'd just left, our food cooling, the ocean still there, shimmering as if nothing had happened. And I realized something profound. For the first time in my life, I wasn't negotiating. I was acting. 10 minutes later, Mr. Haskins called again. I answered immediately. His voice was low, controlled. "I'm here. Your sister's inside. She's yelling that she lives here now." Kara's jaw tightened. I closed my eyes for 1 second, took a breath. "Put me on speaker," I said. A muffled shift, then Danielle's voice, loud and sharp. "Benjamin, tell him this is fine. Mom said it's fine." I spoke calmly, deliberately. "Danielle, you don't live there." "Yes, I do," she snapped. "You're never there. You can stay with Kara. I have kids." "You changed my locks," I stated, a fact, not an accusation. So, she scoffed as if I were nitpicking. I needed security. Mr. Haskins cut in, his voice firm and no nonsense. Ma'am, you are not on the lease. You cannot be here. The police are on the way. Danielle's voice went from angry to wounded in 2 seconds flat. This is what you're doing, she cried. To your own sister? While I'm struggling. I didn't match her emotion. I didn't rise to it. I didn't put you in this position, I said, the words heavy with years of unspoken truth. And you don't fix it by taking my home. Then I heard another voice, breathless. My mom. Benjamin. Stop. Stop right now. We'll talk when you get back. Something settled inside me then, heavy and final. We're talking now, I said. Danielle is leaving. Dad's voice cut through, sharp and familiar. You're being cruel. It was always that word. Not we crossed a line. Not we made a mistake. Just, you're the problem because you won't absorb this quietly. I'm being clear, I corrected him. And then I did the one thing they never, ever expected from me. I ended the call. 20 minutes later, Mr. Haskins texted. Police escorted her out. Locksmith changed locks. New keys in office. Also, she tried to claim you gave permission. I told her I spoke to you. She left screaming. My hands were shaking, but my mind was weirdly quiet. Kara exhaled slowly beside me. They really did it. Yeah, I said. They really did. Then a voicemail from my dad. I listened once. His voice was cold, chilling. If you press this, you're not welcome at our house anymore. It hit me like a familiar slap. Not the threat, but the assumption. The assumption that I would fold. Kara sat beside me on the hotel bed, our son asleep between us. You know, she said softly, you don't have to keep auditioning for a role they never cast you in. I stared at the wall. I don't think I can go back to normal, I whispered. Kara just nodded. Good. When we landed back home 6 days later, we didn't go to my parents' house. We went straight to Mr. Haskins's office. He handed me 2 new keys and a printed report. I documented everything, he said. Dates, times, police incident number, locksmith invoice. Your unit is secure. How much do I owe you? I asked. He waved me off. Just keep paying rent like you do. Then he paused, looked at me like an older, wiser brother. Ben, this doesn't stop unless you stop it. I know, I said. Kara squeezed my arm. We drove to the apartment. The locks were new. The cheesy, bless this mess doormat Danielle had brought was gone. Inside, a few things were out of place. A picture frame, turned face down. A cabinet door, slightly ajar. My spare set of sheets missing. Nothing huge, but enough to make my skin crawl, like my privacy had fingerprints on it. Kara walked through each room, quiet and methodical, like she was clearing a crime scene from her life. This is the line, she said, her voice barely a whisper. This is where it changes. I went into the kitchen, opened the drawer where I kept important papers. My passport copies, our son's birth certificate, lease documents, all still there. They hadn't taken my identity. They just tried to take my space, which, honestly, was almost worse because it meant they thought they had the right. That night, my mom showed up at my door. No call, no text, just a knock like she owned the hallway. I didn't open it. I stood behind the door, listening, Kara beside me, silent. Benjamin, she called, sweet as sugar. We need to talk. Send a text, I said, my voice muffled through the wood. We'll talk later. Her tone snapped. Don't be dramatic. Danielle is crying. The kids are confused. You embarrassed her. There it was. Not you scared us. Not we crossed the line. Just you made her feel something unpleasant. I kept my voice even. Danielle embarrassed herself. How dare you? Mom hissed. I almost laughed. How dare I what? Protect my home. You called the police on family. I called my landlord, I corrected. The police came because she broke in. Mom went quiet for a second, then tried a softer approach. Ben, you know your sister. She's sensitive. She didn't mean harm. Kara's hand found mine, and I felt my pulse in my fingertips. Mom, I said, my voice cutting through her manipulation, you gave someone my keys without asking me. That's not sensitivity. That's entitlement. Her voice hardened. So what now? You're going to punish her. I didn't take the bait. I'm going to protect my family. Good night. Then I walked away from the door, leaving her to stand there, knocking into silence. Over the next week, the calls came in waves. My aunt. Your mother is devastated. My cousin. Danielle is telling everyone you left her and the kids on the street. My dad. This isn't you. Someone's gotten into your head. That one almost made me smile because, yes, someone had gotten into my head. It was me, the version of me that had been buried under years of be the bigger person. Danielle sent voice notes from different numbers. I didn't play them. I didn't need the emotional soundtrack. I knew the plot. Tears, blame, then anger. Kara and I had one hard conversation with our son, even though he was young. Some grown-ups don't follow house rules, Kara told him gently. So, we're making new rules to keep our home safe. He nodded like it made perfect sense. Kids understand boundaries faster than adults do. I blocked Danielle first, then my mom, then my dad. I didn't announce it. I didn't post about it. I didn't make a dramatic speech. I just stopped responding. And then I did the part that actually changed everything. I called Mr. Haskins again. I want to end my lease early, I said. He didn't sound surprised. I can work with you, Ben. Within 48 hours, Kara and I had a plan. Not impulsive, not emotional. Practical. I pulled our credit reports. I moved our savings into accounts with stronger privacy settings. I scheduled a consultation with a real estate attorney. 30 minutes, $250, the best money I spent that month. We didn't buy some flashy mansion. We bought a modest townhouse in a gated community with good schools. Nothing dramatic, nothing that screamed money. Just safe, private. I paid the down payment from an account my family didn't even know existed. Because the truth is, I didn't hide my finances because I was ashamed. I hid them because I knew my family would treat them like a buffet. When my parents realized I wasn't answering, they switched tactics. They showed up at Kara's job. They contacted my coworkers on Facebook. They even sent a handwritten, dramatic letter to my old address, full of phrases like, "After everything we've done for you." Kara picked it up off the floor one afternoon and read it aloud, like she was reading a script in a bad audition. "Benjamin, you have broken this family's heart." I sat at our new kitchen counter, calm. "No," I said. "They broke the illusion that they respected me." Kara folded the letter and tossed it in the trash. "Do you want to respond at all?" she asked. I thought about it. I thought about the years of explaining myself, the years of trying to be understood by people who benefited from misunderstanding me. I opened my laptop and wrote one email. To my mom, my dad, Danielle. Short, clean, no insults. I did not give permission for anyone to enter my home. You crossed a legal and personal boundary. I will not be discussing this further. Do not contact my wife. Do not show up unannounced. If you want a relationship with me in the future, it will be based on respect and consent, not pressure. Family is not a free pass. I hit send, and then I muted the thread. The next few months were quieter than I expected. Not because my family suddenly became reasonable, but because they ran out of access. Without me answering, there was no argument, no fuel, no stage. Danielle tried to rally people, but something interesting happened. When she couldn't use me as the solution, people started seeing her pattern. My cousin Trevor, who I barely talked to, texted me one night. "Didn't know they did that. That's messed up. Proud of you for holding the line." I stared at that message for a long time. Not because I needed praise, but because it was the first time someone in my family acknowledged reality without trying to bend it. Even my dad eventually cracked. He called from a number I didn't recognize. I answered by accident. His voice sounded older, wearier. "Ben," he said, quieter than usual. "Your mom won't stop." "I know," I replied. He hesitated. "I didn't think you'd actually leave." I almost laughed again. That's the part that always amazed me. They could do anything to me, but the moment I responded with consequences, it was unthinkable. "I didn't leave," I said. "I moved forward." Dad exhaled. "Your mother says you've changed." "I hope so," I replied. There was a long pause. Then he said, "Your sister's blaming everyone. She says you did it to hurt her." I kept my voice steady. "Dad, I did it to protect my family." "My grandkids," he tried. "I didn't lock her out of her own home," I said. "I locked her out of mine." He didn't argue. He just said quietly, "I'm sorry." It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't poetic. But it was the closest thing to accountability I'd ever gotten from him. "If you want to see us," I told him, "you can. But it's on my terms." He agreed. And for once, he showed up alone. It's been 9 months now. Danielle still doesn't talk to me. She tells people I abandoned her. My mom sends occasional messages through extended family, testing the fence like a dog, hoping the gate is open. My dad and I have a cautious, quiet relationship. He comes over. He plays with my son. He doesn't bring up Danielle. He doesn't bring up my mom's opinion of me. And I don't pretend we're closer than we are. Kara and I sleep better. My phone doesn't make my stomach drop anymore. And the wildest part, I don't feel guilty. Not because I stopped loving them, but because I finally stopped confusing love with surrender. My grandfather used to say, if someone keeps stepping on your foot, don't argue about their intentions. Move your foot. That's what I did. I moved my life, and I'm not moving it back. What was actually happening here? This wasn't a sister truly needing help. It was a family system built on permission without consent. The antagonist's motivation wasn't pure malice. It was entitlement reinforced for years. Whenever Danielle panicked, someone else fixed it, and I was trained to be the quiet fixer. My parents acted as gatekeepers of family loyalty, using guilt to keep the pattern running. I tolerated it because I wanted peace and because being the reliable one gave me a role that felt like love. But the moment my home was taken, the mask slipped. This wasn't about closeness. It was about access. The one thing this story truly teaches is that boundaries aren't punishment. They're clarity. If someone treats your space, your money, or your time like shared property, explanations won't fix it. Only limits will. I didn't win by yelling louder. I won by choosing calm, irreversible steps. Securing the lease, documenting everything, cutting off access, and moving forward. That's what breaks generational patterns. Not dramatic speeches, but consistent actions. So, here's what I want to know from all of you. If your family crossed a major line, like entering your home, spending your money, or making a life decision for you, would you still call it help? Or would you finally name it for what it is? And what boundary would you set if you knew you wouldn't be judged for it? Drop your thoughts below. I genuinely want to hear how you'd handle it.